Right, let's have a wee look at input validation. Again, this is part of your software design development questions, and you could be asked to write an input validation in the exam or to correct an error in an input validation. Now, there is only 4 lines to an input validation. The syntax is always, look at my brackets, look at my bold letters here, always. Step 1, get the input from the user. Step 2, while the input is wrong. Step 3, display error and reprompt. And step 4, end while. Steps 3 and 4 do not change. You write them down as they're written here, except without the error, which is in that first and. So, let's have a wee look at the 2012 coursework. So the wee 2012 coursework was about runners. So basically there was a minimum of 2 runners and a maximum of 8 runners in a race. So step 1 there says get valid number of runners. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 and 7 at this point is a little bit irrelevant, but it's just to show you what it looks like in a top level algorithm. So step 1, get valid number of runners. Minimum 2, maximum 8. So I can enter either 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 or 8. Can't enter anything else. If I do, I want an error. So we need to refine step 1. So here's the rules again. Get the input from the user. So how do I write that as a refinement? Well, 1.1 is get number of runners from user. Dead simple. Next one is while the input is wrong. So I've got my range is 2 and 8. So I need to look at that range. It's 2 conditions because I've got 2 numbers. So what we get is while runners is less than 2 or runners is greater than 8. Now I've told you step 3 does not change apart from that first word and that I've clearly copied and pasted. So step 3 is display error and reprompt. Let's jump back to the syntax. Step 4 always stays the same, end while. And there we are, 1.4 end while. So the only 2 things that actually change are step 1 and step 2. And that's what you're looking for. So, here's one for you to do. It's the CD task. There's a minimum of 2, there's a maximum of 20. And you've got to break it down. There must be 4 steps. I've realised what I've written there, get valid number of runners, should be get valid number of tracks. I will change that for in class, but if you could see that just now as get valid number of tracks. There must be 4 steps and only 1.1 and 1.2 change. 1.3 is display error and reprompt and 1.4 is end while. So it's only 2 steps that change. So if you could work through that. Now, this one here, again, your turn, this is the orchestra program. We had 3 input validations to do, 2 of them were inside 1 step. So what you had was look for each pupil, get pupil name, 3, get a valid age. Now, the age was a minimum of 12 and a maximum of 17. So 3 should be broken down into 3.1, 3.2, 3.3, 3.4. 3.3 and 3.4 stay the same. Display error and reprompt, and then end while. Hopefully if I keep saying this to you, you'll get sick of my voice and you'll start doing it properly. Right, step 4, get 2 valid scores. Now this needs to be refined as well, and there must be 8 steps. Don't mix them up. Right, what do I mean by that? The first 4 steps is score 1, the second 4 steps are score 2. So 4.1 is getting the score 1, 4.2 is checking for the error for score 1, 4.3 is displaying the error and reprompting, 4.4 end while, 4.5 getting the score 2, 4.6, checking for the errors. 4.7, display. 4.8, end. So that's our input validation. Now notice these were all on numbers. When you do string, it's different. So here we go, an input validation on getting a valid gender of user. Now you know that gender is either M or F, male or female. So the way we do this one, 1.1, is we ask the gender from the user. 1.2 is while gender is not M and gender is not F. 1.3 stays the same, 1.4 stays the same. So we can't use less than and greater than symbols, we have to use words here. If you want to use an exclamation mark and then an equals because you know that that means is not equal to, that is fine, but we use words when it is strings. So here's 3 for you to do. Get valid title of user, Mr, Mrs, Miss. Then the second one, get valid type of room, D for double, S for single, T for twin. And then 3, getting a valid answer, A, B, C or D. Now each one of these again should have the 4 steps. I know you're sick of listening to me saying that to you. And that there is how you do the input validation. So if you can work through them and then ask for some help, that would be great.